Are foreigners still being stopped from entering Tigray? Are vehicles being stopped uh, on their way to Tigray? Details for you in this video. Welcome to my views and news. Thanks for watching the channel. Two main topics in this video. Firstly, US government has congratulated the Ethiopian government on a day which was not celebrated on national level in Ethiopia. The statement came in connection with Ginbot 20, which used to be celebrated as Ethiopian National Day in the past. Second news story is about Tigray, where some Turkish foreign nationals were denied travel to Tigray. Restrictions still in place, reportedly. Let's start, viewers. Firstly, on the 28th of May, Ethiopians used to celebrate National Day until EPRDF was in power. The day was celebrated to commemorate the overthrowing of the government. On the 28th of May 1991, TPLF and EPLF overthrew the government of Colonel Mengistu Haile Mariam. Hence, TPLF then came to power in the form of EPRDF. That is why it made that day a national day. And for years, decades rather, it was celebrated as a national day. But when Abiy came to power, he gradually ended the activities on this day. Now, federal government does not celebrate it as an Independence Day, as a national day in Ethiopia. It was called Ethiopian National Day, not Independence Day. Uh, Yesterday, we saw celebrations in Tigray. TPLF held programs. A large gathering in Mekelle was organized. Both TPLF and Tigray military, they are two sides of the same coin, you can say. Varade was there, two TPLF leaders were there. The Debretsion gave a speech. He extended good wishes for Eritrea too. He said Tigray wants good relations with Eritrea and Amhara. He criticized the federal government. Celebrations were held in Mekelle in Tigray. No celebrations on federal level. The US State Department issued a statement in connection with this so-called Ethiopian National Day. US government congratulated Ethiopians, saying that Ethiopians struggled and they managed to remove a dictatorial government of dogs, and that US is standing with Ethiopians for peace, for economic collaboration, for development. Why is that US is congratulating the Ethiopian government, Ethiopian people, while the day was not celebrated on national level? Well, Mengistu Haile Mariam government was a communist and socialist government. US wanted its removal. US welcomed when the communist or socialist government was overthrown by TPLF and EPLF. That is why TPLF worked as an ally of the US in the years after 1991. But federal government of Ethiopia silent. No celebrations on this day in Ethiopia. Second news story is about an update. It's an update on the restrictions in place on Tigray, on the movement of vehicles to Tigray. In a video 3 to 4 days ago, I told you that trucks, transport vehicles, goods transport vehicles are being stopped. They're not being allowed to freely move to Tigray, especially from the Afar region. And some said, Sajid, this is not the news. The blockade has been in place for several months. No, what I am reporting is new restrictions. The new restrictions have been put in place recently. Now, loader vehicles, goods transport vehicles are not being allowed to move through afar to Tigray. They were entering Tigray from afar 2 months ago, you can say. In Adato, for example, those vehicles which are on their way towards Tigray, they are stopped. And some of these vehicles are carrying items like vegetables, like other items of daily use, coal, uh, fuel, etc. The government officials deployed there, security officials and others, they ask the drivers to unload the vehicle. They want to check each and every item there, which is not possible. I mean, if you start unloading and loading each and every vehicle at a checkpoint, that will lead to definitely a disruption in the movement of supplies to Tigray. This is what is happening in Adato, in other towns of Afar, where checkpoints have been put in place and the goods transport vehicles are stopped. Then rigorous checkings are being conducted. Drivers say that they have all the required documents of their vehicles, documents related to the items they are carrying. Still, they are being harassed. Why? Meanwhile, a delegation of Turkish nationals was also denied entry into Tigray by the federal government 3 to 4 days ago. So, while restrictions on the movement of foreigners from Addis Ababa to Tigray have been eased a little, but not fully lifted. What is the reason? Well, federal government, firstly wants to punish Tigray. When federal government wants to punish Tigray, basically it is punishing the people of Tigray because the people in power in Tigray won't suffer. EPLF leaders, Tigray generals, they don't face any shortage of basic food items, but the people will suffer, prices will go up. The new blockade which is being put in place around Tigray is definitely linked to growing Eritrea-Tigray relations. Cross-border trade on Eritrea-Tigray border being confirmed. So Tigray says that trade, whatever is happening, it's illegal activity, but it cannot happen without the approval of the two sides. Federal government is not happy with the cross-border trade between Tigray and Eritrea. That is what is restricting the movement of food items, other items to Tigray from Afar region. People say, Sajid, uh, Amhara region is being used for the movement of goods to Tigray. Similar restrictions are being imposed. Whether the vehicles are coming from Amhara or Afar. Now, free movement of goods transport vehicles to Tigray is not being allowed. Well, government can do more to punish the people of Tigray. It can stop these supplies altogether. Supplies have not been fully stopped. Partial blockade has been put in place. Vehicles have to wait for hours at checkpoints, then they're allowed to go. But the speed of clearance is very slow. It amounts to imposition of a partial blockade on Tigray, we can say. It's linked to political tensions between Tigray leaders and the federal government of Ethiopia. Let's see, will the issue be solved or not? But tensions are there. I think Tigray leaders and federal government will have to find a solution to political issues. If political issues are not solved, if TPLF status remains the same, not legit, if Gitacho's party is fully registered and it is not allowed to work in Tigray, if TPLF relations uh, solidify, that could lead to more pressure upon Tigray from the federal government. Federal government could stop budgetary support for Tigray. It could make decisions which could lead to disruption of basic services in Tigray. Tigray leaders need to be careful while they are eager to improve their ties with Eritrea. They need to have working relationship with federal government. Thank you for watching.